Hello, good evening. Welcome to the call. Hope you're well. Please feel free to pop into the chat where you're tuning in from. I'm just going to wait another minute in case anyone else is joining us live. I am, of course, also recording the session tonight. So hello to those watching the replay. Thank you for tuning in. But for those of you live on the call, we're just going to wait another 60 seconds or so, see if we get anyone else live on the call. But in the meantime, feel free to pop into the chat whereabouts you are. So we've got Harshit, hello, nice to see you again. Um, Thanks for being here, and you're from Australia. Awesome. Whereabouts in Australia? Just remind me, Harshit, I can't remember. And then Lee is from Kuma. Oh my gosh, am I going to be? Oh, Toowoomba, that's right. Okay. Combameri country. Love that. Okay. Nice to see you both. Let's wait another few seconds here, and then we're going to get stuck into how excited are you guys about this topic? Every time I do something on abundance, yeah, I get quite a few people asking me for more information about it. So do feel free after the call tonight to reach out. I could actually talk on webinars for many hours on end because I just love these topics that we get to speak on, that have had such profound difference in my own life. But yeah, abundance is one of my favorite topics because we get to have anything we want, and I'm going to show you how. So really exciting, really exciting. Alrighty, let's get this show on the road. Feel free anytime as well to pop any comments or questions into the chat. I may stop as we go through, otherwise, I'll take some questions at the very end as well. But feel free to interact. And if there's anything you want me to go over again or anything like that, or any questions, as I said, just pop them into the chat as we go. All right. So thank you so much again for spending the next sort of 45 minutes to an hour with me. And again, hello to those watching the replay. Just going to let someone in here. Here we go. Hi, Jane. Nice to see you. We're just getting started. Feel free to share in the chat if you'd like whereabouts it is that you are. And of course, if you have any questions or anything throughout the presentation, feel free to pop that into the chat as well. But nice to see you here. Thanks for coming on live tonight. I was just saying to the others, we're going to be on for about 45 minutes to an hour or so. And one of my absolute favorite topics to share on, and one that's had a really profound difference in my own life. So, um, now tonight isn't going to be another one of those abundance webinars where I'm like, think positively, write affirmations, in the mirror, manifest harder. Because, if it was that easy, we'd all be millionaires with perfect relationships and incredible health and complete inner peace, right? So tonight, I really want to take you a little bit deeper. It's about understanding what's actually happening beneath the surface in our human being. So, why some people seem to effortlessly attract opportunities while others feel like they're constantly pushing uphill, no matter what it is. Why two people can work equally hard yet experience completely different results. And most importantly, why abundance isn't something you create. Who's heard this before? We've got to create abundance in our lives. So, I'm going to talk to you about why abundance isn't something that you create, it's something you allow yourself to receive. It is everywhere, always. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper into that as well. But before we begin, why would you listen to me? Is the first question. So, for those that I haven't met before, my name is Sarah Jane McNaughton. I'm an entrepreneur, a leadership consultant, a life strategist, a business and accountability coach for solo business operators, retreat facilitator, speaker, stress expert, avid traveler when I get the chance, vegan, cat mum, sunrise enthusiast, and personal development junkie, as well as a facilitator of personal development events with the Ascendancy Collective. And you can see my certifications and credentials and whatnot on the screen at the moment. But most importantly, one thing that I've done that I'm most proud of is built a life extremely intentionally. And I absolutely love the life that I've created intentionally. But of course, it wasn't always the case. In fact, just a few short years ago, on paper, I had everything: a successful career, great money, investment properties, travel, social life. I was successfully climbing the corporate ladder at breakneck speed. Promotion, achievement, goals, that was my life. I kept ticking the boxes, doing all the things that everyone told me I should do, right? And I think maybe when I get to the next one, the next milestone, maybe this is the one where I'll finally be happy. And it never did. In fact, if I'm completely honest, I was deeply miserable. Unaware of that at the time, benefit of hindsight. But you see, alongside all that abundance in my life, I was prone to hard crashes, days in bed depression, alcohol, cigarette, food addictions, a divorce by 30. And in my late 30s, I had the wake up moment. And some of you may have experienced this wake up moment where you get woken up from the subconscious slumber of the achievement wheel. And I realized for the first time, and it was very, very confronting. And I tell this story, because I have had big trauma in my life, like most people, big events that have shaped the way I think and feel about life. But this was a very, very subtle moment that really is the one I'm the most grateful for, but it was the most painful. And the realization was that I had absolutely no idea, who I really was and what I actually wanted in life. So, lesson, we can do all the things and have all the stuff and still feel like a failure. So, is that abundance? Is that actually abundance? And I ask you that question really sincerely because for me, abundance is very much what I've learned later is a feeling. It's not the doing and the stuff, it's the feeling. And again, we're going to really go into this quite deeply tonight. So first things first, what is abundance? It's not how much stuff, particularly money, that you have. Tony Robbins says achievement without fulfillment will never feel like success. And I absolutely love this line. I live by it now completely. Oops. So I'm just letting somebody in here. So Tony Robbins says achievement without fulfillment will never feel like success. And I believe that abundance is success, the feeling of success. So what success is completely individual. I can have $1 million and feel really supported, successful, and abundant. To a millionaire, that's Tuesday. A private jet or time with their family might symbolize abundance. So abundance is that thing: money, time, love, convenience, support, peace, whatever, that if we had it, we would feel successful. And when we put it into that context, it makes perfect sense that it is something we are told we have to create, to constantly chase. Now, another little truth about abundance can also mean overflow. So overflow and excess, not of specific things, again, like money, but of anything you individually want to feel happy and successful. Now, the thing is that as spiritual beings, and hands up if you believe that we're spiritual beings having a human experience in our meat suit, in our primitive, limited subconscious and nervous system way, like some of you might agree with me there. But I do believe that we are a spiritual being having a human experience, right? And as spiritual beings, we exist for no other reason than to be. We do not have to earn our existence. You are worthy, you are capable, all of those things just because you are here. Now, there is a 1 in 400 trillion chance of you being here. Don't know if you guys know that. It's something around there. 1 in 400 trillion. Like you're a literal miracle. And your only job is to be and exist. You don't have to earn worthiness, but I'm going to get onto that later. And we have a whole bunch of webinars around allowing joy, around your own conditioning that blocks this, around your nervous system, and why we don't know this is true about ourselves, that we just get to be and exist. But abundance in all things is simply a given, a birthright. It is not something we create. It is something that is. Look at nature. And remember, we are nature. We are not separate or above it. We have just created those constructs in our human limitations, as I mentioned before. Now, in nature, there is plentiful abundance. Fruiting trees don't ration fruit. At the beach, there's no scarcity around the grains of sand or how frequently the waves crash. You cannot count the number of leaves on a tree, and some fall off and then come back or grow back, or it doesn't matter. Everything is just inherently abundant always. Nature is abundant, life itself is abundant. The universe isn't suffering from any shortages. We are. Not because abundance is missing, but because we've become exceptionally good at blocking it. That's the mindset shift. We do not create abundance, we create blocks to it. Remove the blocks, have what you want. It's actually that simple. It's actually that simple. So we create things like resistance, like fear, stress, limiting beliefs. Like my favorite one was, I have to work really hard for money. If I haven't worked for it and I haven't earned it, I got to get rid of it. That's dirty money. Who gets that some guy one day decided money was going to be valuable and then it became the most valuable thing? And don't get me wrong, I want a lot of money. I think I do understand that's just life. We have to have value on certain things. That's our human experience as well. And we need money as a collective to live. I think everybody should have lots of money. But my point is, it's kind of absurd for me to have a belief that I have to work really, really hard for money when its value is kind of made up. And it's sad to feel less than and fearful when I don't have a certain amount of it. I can even feel sad and less than when I have a lot of it. It is literally just a mindset and human blocks that stop your abundance. And I am using mine as an example here, but I'm sure you've got your own. But going back to whatever it is you want and need in excess to feel supported and successful, this applies. We create stories, made up stories or beliefs borrowed about why we can't have what we want. And then we make up stories about what it means about us when we don't get it. We are meaning-making machines. Abundance was never the problem. The blocks are. And that's something I really want you to get tonight. Once you get that, you can actually do something about this. You can change that block. Remove it. Abundance is literally right in front of you everywhere. Your birthright. Everything is abundant. The universe is abundant. It's universal law. You can have whatever you want. You put the block in. You put the fear in, the stress, the limiting beliefs. So what's tonight about? Tonight is about becoming someone a little bit different around this. It's about removing everything that isn't really you. So that fear, the conditioning, the stress that I was just talking about, the programming, survival patterns. A lot of this comes back to how we were brought up and what we needed to do to be loved, to be cherished, to survive. Because in our bodies, being loved is the same as survival. It's the same as living. Because underneath all of those things is the version of you that already knows how to receive. And this is the key, how to receive. You just kind of forgot. And here's the beautiful part though. Once you understand these blocks and where they come from, you stop blaming yourself. Because again, if we actually buy into some of these limiting beliefs, first of all, we have the limiting belief. Second of all, we have what it means about us when we don't get the thing. So we get to like make up a secondary layer of punishment for ourselves. And those are all just essentially abundance blocks. But what does that really mean? It's a receiving block. It means I don't feel safe to receive the abundance that is everywhere always. I got to put a block there to protect myself. So when you take some of these things away, you stop thinking about yourself as broken or believing that you're behind, or just simply start removing what's in the way. And that's exactly what we're going to do next, because like I said, it's already available to you. So why do some people seem to be able to receive it while others spend their lives chasing it? And it isn't just mindset, that's part of it. It's much deeper than that. It starts with your nervous system. Now, now that we understand that abundance is not something we need to chase or create or become worthy of, you are inherently abundant and inherently worthy just for existing here. The next question becomes, if abundance is always available, why do so many people struggle to experience it? Why do people work harder and harder but still feel like they're behind? And I know, and it's the word feel, right? Feel like they're behind. Who decided where the right spot is? Some person just made it up. Why do people achieve everything society says to and still feel empty like I did? Why do people desire more love and more money and more freedom and more opportunities? Yet when those things start to appear, they find themselves pulling away, sabotaging it, doubting it, or just feeling really uncomfortable. Most of my coaching, especially with the solo business operators, and what I see all the time is the fear of failure is nothing compared to the fear of success and what it would mean about us and who and how our lives would have to change in order to keep it. So we actually repel it subconsciously. All of this is happening subconsciously, by the way. It's not a conscious thought. So we have to become conscious to these thoughts and these mindsets and these limiting beliefs. So what we do is we learn to block what we desire because our nervous system, which is essentially made up of our beliefs, our experiences, our conditioning, have created patterns designed to keep us safe. And definitely go and watch the nervous system webinar that I did on this because I go really deep. Since my own experience with stress in the nervous system, which I'd never heard of until I was like 38 years old, I have become an absolute expert on this area. Go and watch it. It's like how to look after your nervous system 101. I cannot believe we do not talk about this enough. Anyway, I digress. When we want to do anything different and have anything different than what we have always had and what we have always done, our nervous system, which is the central control and operating system of our human being, that everything is filtered through, doesn't go, yay, that sounds amazing. How can I help? It says, danger. This is unfamiliar. Stop. Even if the thing we want is a good thing, an improvement, or the thing that we want in here. So we are in this constant struggle between our spiritual selves, abundance, nature, overflow, and our human self, the stop, the danger. Don't have too much, it isn't safe. Don't change, it isn't safe. So that's the physical limitation and that struggle between the two things. So I'd love to know, like, just drop it in the chat if this is resonating with you, if you're feeling like, well, this is a bit too far out, let me know. But I'd love to know if some of this is sounding familiar to you. And if you are seeing some of these limiting beliefs, some of these blocks, if you know what they are, pop them into the chat. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, we can absolutely help you through some of these. But on the emotion and programmed blocks, there's also a real difference between wanting and receiving. So many people are really good at wanting. They can tell you exactly what they want. I want financial freedom. I want my dream relationship. I want my business to grow, to scale. I just really want more confidence. I want more time with my family. But wanting something and being available to receive it are two very different things because receiving requires openness and trust. And as I said before, our nervous system is going absolutely not most of the time. And I really want you to hear this about the nervous system. It's not just going, nah, we don't want that. It's going, if you do something unfamiliar, you will die. That's how extreme the messaging is in our body. So now it makes sense, right? Why we don't change or why we don't get what we want, because our body is fighting against it. Not because it hates us, but because it's protecting us. It's doing its job, and we get to go, thank you so much for looking after me. And also, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well. So receiving requires the belief, I am available for this. And I mean deep belief. Yep, I'm available for this, with safety and trust. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that struggle equals worthiness, that if something comes easily, it must not be valuable or I can't trust it. that we have to work harder, prove ourselves more, sacrifice more, achieve more before we deserve to receive. But abundance doesn't respond to exhaustion. Abundance in its inherent form is just receivership just because you exist. Abundance responds to alignment. It's supposed to be easy to be abundant. The easier it is, the more abundance you should experience, in fact. And we're taught the opposite. So let's explore some of the most common abundance blocks that I see from a beliefs perspective. So first one is I have to do everything myself. So this is the things that really block receiving. I have to do everything myself. So many high achieving people carry this belief. They pride themselves on being independent and the person everyone relies on. They solve problems. They support everyone and everything, make sure no balls drop. They hold it all together like glue. But underneath that strength can sometimes be the shadow belief, which is if I don't do it myself, it won't happen or it won't happen right. I can't trust anyone else. I don't want to be a burden. That's a big one that I see all the time. And this creates a block because abundance often arrives through connection. It's one of the channels of receivership. We can't really receive if there's no connection. So it's through people, through collaboration, support, through opportunities we could never create alone. We have to be open to support, to receive support. And isn't support just abundance because it's receivership? So every time someone supports us and we feel that feeling of relief and being held and supported, that is a form of abundance. Abundance isn't just like physical things like money, for example. Block 2 I see a lot is feeling uncomfortable receiving. So you might be receiving a lot, but just feel deeply uncomfortable when it happens. So you'll either block it or get rid of it. So many people are very comfortable giving. They give their time and their energy and their love and their knowledge quite freely. But someone offers them something like help, just simple help, or a gift. Maybe it's an opportunity or even recognition for the work they've done, even a simple compliment, and they immediately deflect. Someone says you did an amazing job, and instead of simply saying thank you, they might go, oh, it was nothing, or oh, it could have been better, or I had help. Notice what happens. The compliment arrives, and instead of allowing it in, we push it away. But receiving a compliment is actually an abundance practice. This is one of the most simple, small things I get people to start with if they have blocks to abundance. Because receiving is allowing yourself to be seen. Receiving is allowing yourself to acknowledge your own value and being open to experiencing goodness or recognition. So, as I said, this is exactly where I start with people who are experiencing a lack of abundance in any area of their life or who are really uncomfortable with receiving. Start with compliments. When someone compliments you, say thank you and shut up. Don't diminish it. Don't compliment back. Receive, say thank you, shut up. That's it. And that is how we begin to tell our nervous system and our subconscious that it's okay, it's safe to receive. We don't need to stop the message. And I've already touched on this, but your nervous system plays a huge role on what you allow yourself to receive as well, because your body is constantly asking one question, am I safe? Even positive experiences can feel unsafe just because they're unfamiliar. For example, more money can feel unsafe. Being visible can feel unsafe. Being successful, being deeply loved. Why? Why do they feel unsafe? Because our nervous system is not wired to seek pleasure. It's wired to seek familiar feelings, safety. And that is just familiar. So if struggle has been familiar to you, peace can feel really uncomfortable, right? If survival and scarcity has been really familiar to you, abundance can feel overwhelming, scary, undeserved, got to get rid of it. If you want more abundance, you must create internal safety to have more active practice in receiving. And you might say, well, it's one thing to get comfy with receiving a compliment about my hair. It's quite another to get comfy with $100 million dropping into my bank account. Actually, it's not. Your nervous system doesn't actually know the difference. It is comfortable with receiving or it's not. So start small, but it will lead to bigger and better things. It's universal law. Receive compliments. Thank you. Shut up. That's it. Yep, we're safe to receive. And you'll see what other things can come into your world when you start with something even so small. It's the whole energetics of receiving that's important and removing those blocks to abundance that's right in front of us. So, as I said, key is starting small and then actively expanding your capacity to receive. Question is not, how do I get more abundance? The question is, how much abundance am I currently willing to receive? Questions like, how much more can I have? How much more do I get? And immediately some of you went, oh, that's selfish. Your brain went, oh, it's selfish to go, I want more. It's actually not. It's how much you're willing to receive. And really think about that. Get clear on what it is that you want. Because I'll try another analogy. There is a cup. Like, imagine there's a cup and the ocean is everywhere around you. And the ocean is obviously anything that you want. The ocean represents abundance. But if your cup is upside down, the ocean cannot fill it. It doesn't matter how big the cup is. If it's upside down, the ocean can't fill it. The ocean is not withholding. It's not deciding whether you're worthy. The cup simply needs to become available. Your work is not to create the ocean. Your work is turning your cup upright, which is just being open to receiving. So for the next week, notice every time something good comes to you, a compliment, a kind message. Maybe it's an opportunity, a big one or a small one. Someone offering to help you or support you or carry your bag. Pause, take a breath, and simply say, thank you. And allow yourself to feel it. Allow yourself to experience it. Because every time you receive, you create safety and strength and capacity for abundance in your body and your nervous system. Okay, so just recap a little bit here. So far, we've explored that abundance is not something outside of us that we need to chase. It's not something reserved for certain people. It doesn't come when we're good enough or worthy enough or any of those other things that we've attached to it. Abundance is simply a state of openness, of allowing receivership, a state of alignment to the thing that we want. It is an energetic practice. The relationship with ourselves, our beliefs, nervous system certainly, and the world around us. But if abundance is always available, why do some people seem to naturally attract the opportunities and wealth and love and success and expansion, while others continue to experience the same patterns of struggle? So we've covered, the mindset things and the body safety things. And then that third piece is really around identity. And this is the energetics piece on steroids, right? So your reality is often a reflection of what you believe is possible for someone like you. We do not attract what we want, we attract what we are vibrationally. Not just what you consciously want, but what you believe you are capable of holding. Because your mind will always try to create evidence that supports your existing identity. If your identity says, I'm someone who struggles in life, I'm someone who has to work twice as hard as everyone else, I'm someone who can't get ahead, your brain will unconsciously look for evidence to prove that is true. And the beautiful thing is your identity is not fixed, right? You evolve, you can evolve. So you can become someone who thinks, feels, and acts from a place of abundance. And a lot of this is language and thinking. So Scarcity versus abundance thinking. Let's look at the difference. A scarcity mindset asks, why is this happening to me? So I'm just letting somebody in. Scarcity mindset asks, why is this happening to me? There's never enough. There's never enough. What if it doesn't work? Right, there's the fear one. What if I lose everything and I need to hold on to what I have? And again, pop it into the chat if some of these are resonating with you. If you've heard yourself say these a few times in your head and if you've believed it, of course. An abundance mindset asks, what is possible? What opportunities exist here? When something happens, what opportunities exist here? How can I create more? What can I learn from this? How can I expand? The difference is not that, one person has challenges and another doesn't. Everyone experiences challenges, but they experience the challenge differently. The difference is in the relationship we have with those challenges. That's why two people can experience the same thing and have a different result. It is all in the way they experience the challenge. So scarcity sees a closed door. Abundance looks for another pathway, an alternative route, an option. Abundance looks for options. How am I going to get there? And I really love one of the most powerful questions that you can ask in almost any situation is, how can I? If you have any challenge, problem, limitation in front of you, it doesn't matter if it's personal or if it's work or if it's your mindset or anything, how can I get that thing? It will force you to upgrade your identity and your language and your thoughts around that almost instantly. So practical example, I need to work extra hours so I can pay my rent this week. I hope I can do that. That might be a thought that we have. But if I say, how can I pay my rent? It's expansive, right? So I need to step into the identity of the person who has paid the rent in order to solve this. I can sell something, I can negotiate with the landlord, I can call in an old debt, I can rent a room out. It doesn't matter what I do. The point is that the possibilities are expansive. And in there's a solution to my problem. Whereas the first one is like, this is the only way out of here. And I don't really want to do it, but I have to. I have to do it, not I get to, right? So again, when we start doing this practice and starting small with everyday things, they're going to start working on big things. And I'm talking about the how can I question. So start with really small things, small, minor things that happen in your day. How can I? And it just opens up a world of opportunity. And then it will start turning into bigger things. How can I create $1 million balance in my bank account this year? That's a question that you might ask yourself. And if you're coming from a place of scarcity and closed off and a closed door, it's like either going to feel completely impossible or there's maybe one way and you'd have to be a pretty bad person potentially to do that, or something that goes against your values. But if you say, how can I create $1 million balance in my bank account this year? Possibility. So much possibility. There's like multiple ways that you could do that and multiple options. And then you can choose the one that you like, that feels good for you, that feels aligned, that feels easy. That's the key. But that is a completely different way to think, feel, act. That is a new identity. And we have to act from the identity of the person who already has the thing. We do not attract what we want. We attract what we are. Really important to understand. Another little universal law as well. So the next part, or the next limit to abundance that I see is the fear of having more. And I've touched on this already, but it's really important and it's often overlooked. Sometimes we're not actually afraid of failure. Sometimes we're afraid of success because success changes things, right? More visibility means more people seeing you. And that's like another level of fear, another level of nervous system going, if people see you, you will die. Blend in, stay in the crowd, stay safe. More money for lots of people means more responsibility. I've got to take care of more people. And we've also been taught that people with lots of money are really bad. and evil. So what does that say about us? I have to prove that I'm a good person. I have to give it away and I'm responsible for all these things. The more success you have, it means that you outgrow this old version of yourself. And sometimes that means people in our lives don't relate to us anymore and we don't relate to them anymore. People that we really love. More love, deep love, means becoming vulnerable. And again, vulnerable is a safety concern for our body, our primitive body that works well before our conscious thought says vulnerability is unsafe. And sometimes, it is, but deep love requires vulnerability. So all of these things in these cases, success equals fear. There's a fear. So expansion requires letting go of the comfort, and your body will react as though you're going to die. Like I said, and this is not like your body's going, no, we better not do that. It's like danger, absolutely not. Even if you think about stepping out of your comfort zone, it's that serious about your perceived safety. And your next level will often require a new version of you. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that people have what's called an upper limit, a current upper limit, and we need to change that. So that's a subconscious threshold for how much happiness, success, how much love, or abundance, whatever abundance looks like for you, can certainly mean, time, money, things like that. The subconscious threshold that you allow yourself to experience in the confines of comfort and safety. So this goes back to that worthiness, the deserving, but ultimately it's just self-worth, self-love. Because the more self-worth and self-love we have, the more we trust ourselves, the safer we feel in our body, the more opportunities for expansion. So this is just another one of those small practices. Go and find the practices that make you feel like you trust yourself. You've got your own back. Self-worth practices and self-love practices are the next keys to abundance because they create safety in our body, which allows the receiving. So you can see now where this is all coming together, and it's not just one thing that we have to do. It's many things, but it all comes down to, I don't want to make this super complicated. It all comes down to anything that makes your body feel safe and you can receive. Body feels safe, you can receive. That's it. But it's going to require a multifaceted approach. Start small, expand it out. That's all you need to do. Start with the compliments, the self-love practices, the how can I question. Those are the 3 things I would suggest that you do immediately, like starting tonight. If you do nothing else, that will expand your capacity to receive and feel safe in your own body. So, powerful question around the identity piece. Who do I need to become to receive the life I say I want? And again, probably actually number 1 is knowing what you really want. For me, I woke up from my unconscious slumber, age of 38, and I thought I was doing everything really consciously. I was making all these really conscious decisions and building this successful life. And it turned out I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked or what I wanted. I thought I knew. I knew what society told me to. But, it was like I actually didn't know, and it was really confronting, but I don't have time to go there tonight. But what I would say is really understand what it is that you want. What would make you feel successful? And I said at the beginning, achievement without fulfillment will never feel like success. So what's the thing that makes you feel fulfilled as well as happy? That's the thing you want more abundance of, that you want more of. So it's not what do I need to do, but who do I need to become? Because your future is not created only through your actions. It's created through that energy, your beliefs, your decisions, your standards. And the person who creates financial abundance, for example, thinks differently. The person who creates a fulfilling relationship thinks differently and they behave differently. A person who creates freedom, time freedom, they think differently about time than most people who are in scarcity, right? So they don't wait for permission. They don't wait until it feels perfect and ready. They choose alignment. They choose aligned paths. of what's available to them and they receive easily. They just get to have those things, right? So, um, let's do a little closed eye process, literally just a minute or so. But I want you to just feel into this for a moment. It's a bit of an abundance activation exercise. So I want you to sit back in your chair, close down your eyes, just really relax the body, feet flat on the ground. Take some slow, deep breaths in through the nose. And you may like to release through the mouth. Feeling really calm, grounded, present. You may choose to have your palms face up, ready to receive. Slow, deep breaths. Just imagine yourself 1 year from today, the version of you who has stepped into deeper abundance, whatever that looks like for you. Is it more money, more time, more love, more peace? Imagine yourself 1 year from today, the version of you who has stepped into deeper abundance. The version of you who feels confident, supported, aligned, connected, successful, fulfilled. And ask yourself now, as this person, what does this version of me believe? How do they show up? What do they no longer tolerate? What do they finally allow themselves to receive? Now ask, what is one decision I can make today that honors that future version of me? Because we know abundance is created in moments of choice. So what is one decision I can make today that honors that future version of me? And I'll invite you now just to open up your eyes and write down that decision or make a note on your phone or whatever you've got available to you. Just going to give you a moment to do that. Check the chat here. Beautiful. Hopefully you've got that jotted down and come back to this after the call tomorrow, whatever. Another little practice for you to put into place. Again, something really simple. And every time you get to make a decision between what you're going to do, what you're going to tolerate, come back to that feeling that you just experienced, stepping into that future version. How would they think? How would they feel? What decision would they make here? Really important one that I love is, what do they no longer tolerate? What are my standards? Successful people, abundant people have standards. And that comes back to that self-love piece, right? That self-trust, self-love piece, worthiness. Love it. Okie doke. So, truth about abundance. We don't need to become someone worthy of abundance. We already are. The work is removing the barriers that have convinced you otherwise. So your beliefs, fears, conditioning, patterns, stories, all of that. There is a version of you underneath there that already knows how to receive, because that is the key to everything. And this is exactly why we created the Ascendancy Collective. And again, I represent 1/3 of the Ascendancy Collective. I'm just going to share some slides here. Ah, there we go. Yes, this is actually my favorite saying. We do not create abundance. Abundance is everywhere always. We create blocks to it. remove the blocks. So, reason that we created the Ascendancy Collective is to show people these rules of life that no one ever taught you. And you cannot win at the game of life if you don't know the rules. And on top of that, personal transformation doesn't happen through information alone, right? So hopefully you guys have got a fair bit of information tonight that can help you and a couple of little things you can take away and do. But knowing something intellectually is different from embodying it. And I touched a lot tonight on the body piece, the nervous system piece. You can know that you are worthy intellectually, but still struggle to feel worthy. You can know you deserve abundance and still find yourself blocking it or sabotaging it. You can know what you want, but still feel disconnected from the version of yourself who can actually create that thing. So the Ascendancy Collective is a space designed to support people who are ready to move from surviving to thriving, a community where we explore personal growth, nervous system regulation, identity transformation, abundance mindset, leadership and self-leadership, conscious creation. I mentioned at the beginning, I consciously create my life now. I love it. Wouldn't have it any other way. Do I wish I had it, 20 years ago? Absolutely. I'll take it now. Connection and support is part of our mission as well. So it's myself and two co-founders. The first one is Rhiannon. She has years of experience in film and television, and she deeply understands people, emotion, and behavior. She's the one that is the expert on things like the patterns that are created in our imprint period, our inner child work. She's worked alongside some of the best in personal development, and I love that she is so connected to joy and her inner child and just deeply understands how human beings work. The other co-founder is Karina. Powerhouse. She has experienced more tragedy, more grief, more significant events in her life than a lot of people I know. And she has come out more fierce, more strong, and more eager to help other people. She can hold you no matter where you're at. That's one of the things I love about her. She created a foundation after the passing of her daughter Sophie called the Sophie Effect. And again, is a keynote speaker, very well versed on things like grief and authenticity, and really holding individuals to the highest version of themselves. And I just absolutely love working with these two women, honestly. And one of the events that we have coming up that I want to share with you, so if today's conversation resonated with you, if it's something inside of you now saying, I know there's more for me, I know I'm ready for my next level, I'm ready to stop repeating the same patterns and blocking myself, then, we'd love to invite you to join us for our upcoming Ascend Summit event. This is really an opportunity to go deeper, to take the concepts we've started exploring today and turn them into real transformation. And as I said, we have many other events and webinars around in-depth topics as well. So we take a lot of those concepts and we put them into an experience that creates real transformation for the rest of your life. So over Summit, you'll experience powerful teachings from all three of us, practical tools and strategies, guided exercises and processes, connection. I mentioned connection being part of our receiving pathway with like-minded people, space to reflect and reset and create and consciously create your next chapter, your dream life, because awareness creates that opening, but the action creates the transformation, and we create spaces for action. So what do you get at Summit? 2 full days of live expert facilitation in person across the 3 facilitators, myself and Karina and Rhiannon. All the tools, materials, workbooks, and resources that you need to really get to the bottom of what's blocking you and getting rid of it, then creating the life of your future. This is a fully supported in-person experience. It's in Brisbane. I'll give you the address in a moment. We're also going to do a 30-day implementation process afterwards, because I also find that if you are familiar with personal development events, you may find that you don't always get an integration piece afterwards. And sometimes you go back to your life and you're like, whoa, I feel different, but everyone else doesn't. What do I do here? It's really important to have integration as part of your development process. And of course, we've got a beautiful Ascendancy Collective community, and we're going to do a live group call after the event as well. So what are you going to walk away with? A bit of clarity, understanding exactly what's been keeping you stuck. We're going to go through the patterns, behaviors, and the beliefs, and we touched on some of them tonight, but we're going to go to the core of where they came from. And then we're going to pull them out at the root, get rid of them. Connection. So reconnect with who you are. And I mentioned before, I got to 38 before I was like, who am I? What do I want? So some of us have gone through our whole lives not really understanding what we want. And the other piece that happens is we have this set of beliefs or values that of who we think we are. And when we look at our lives, how we behave, what we spend our money on, what we talk about, who we hang out with, there's a disconnect. So we're going to bring some light to that. That's important to know. If there is a disconnect between who you think you are and who you actually are being, we resolve that so that you can have the life that you actually want. I just said to you before, you got to have that identity piece down pat to get what you want. Confidence, completely different relationships with things like your fear, grief, anger, resistance, uncertainty. You're going to leave with a practical direction. You might have picked up from, I get to do the future stuff, which is awesome. You might have picked up from my energy that I'm very like action orientated. I want to give you tools. I want to give you strategies. Yes, the mindset stuff. Yes, the awareness things. Very important. But I want you to step out of the room and go, what am I going to do tomorrow? That's really important. So you're going to know your next inspired steps. So you're not going to just feel leaving good. You're going to leave with a direction and a plan, a real solid plan. In terms of dates, so 8th and 9th of August. 8th, of course, if you're into that thing, is the Lionsgate portal. So it's a very high energetic weekend for those of us in the spiritual community. But 8th and 9th of August, next weekend live in Brisbane. It's going to be at Newstead, is the suburb. I've popped the QR code up there. Now, the investment for this one for the full 2 days, everything included, is $649. Because you're on the webinar, you do get 10% off with the code ASCEND. You just got to pop that out in at the checkout. And what I'll actually do is also pop into the, like if you just want a bit more information about the event itself, I'll pop into the chat here, a funnel link that will just give you a bit more information about the event itself, what you get, what's included, all that sort of thing, a bit more of the logistical stuff, and also the outcomes, the results you can expect to receive. So if you want a little bit more information and you don't want to go straight to the QR code, jump on that link that's in the chat now. But basically, long story short, we're talking about $585 with your discount and 2 days out of your whole life to completely change your life. Immersion and intensity combined create impact, lifelong change and impact. If you like personal development events, you're going to love this. Some of you are like, yep, I'm in. If you have not experienced personal development events much, they are no longer woo-woo or nice to haves. Personal development is critical for optimizing you as a human and in turn your life. This is how you get support to create the life where anything and everything is available to you. So that's Summit. Beautiful. Oh, school community. Yes. So another way to stay in touch with us at the Ascendancy Collective, you can join our free school community. You'll get all the webinar replays that we do, resources, event information. Last week, I just ran a free 5-day challenge where I looked at each area of your life individually on one day of the week. All of those recordings and resources and everything are in our school community, completely free to join. It's just a platform that hosts the ability to converse with other people and some of our resources and courses in there as well. And that's that. So before we finish today, I'll take any questions, but I want you to remember this. You're not chasing, you're becoming available for it. The opportunities, the connections, the wealth, the love, the success, joy, whatever it is for you, that's not something you need to beg for in life. They are something you need to learn to receive. It's there. It's right in front of you. You've got to learn to receive it. So the question is not, is abundance available to me? The question is, am I available to receive the abundance that is already waiting for me? And you get to choose whatever that is. So that is how powerful you are. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I've really appreciated you being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Again, those on the recording know you. Please reach out to me via the school community, or you just can email us. I'll be sending the replay out on email. You can email us if you have any questions or concerns at all about the content, about Summit, anything at all, let me know. And we just cannot wait to welcome you into the next stage of your journey if you continue to work with us at the Ascendancy Collective. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I will take any questions. I'm just going to double check the chat and see if there's any in there. Doesn't look like it. Oh, just one from Lee. Hey, Sarah, thanks so much for your knowledge and wisdom. Excellent info. Have to go. Sorry to miss the end. Oh, thanks, Lee. It's so beautiful. I will send the replay. At what time the event starts? Oh, yes. So, event information is coming out very, very soon to those who have already signed up for Summit. But we'll be starting around between 8 and 9 each of the 2 days. Yeah, and there'll be sort of 8 or 9 hour days. So that's the Saturday and Sunday. Thanks for your question. Let me know if there's anything else. I'll give you another minute or so. How many hours per day? Yeah, between 8 and 10. It will really depend on how we go with the breakthroughs and the processes and the content. So yeah, that should hopefully cover that one. But yeah, about 8. We're not really we're not going to have you there until like midnight, midnight every night or anything. They're going to be nice, solid days, and they'll be jam-packed, and we're going to be doing a lot. But you'll be able to get a good sleep, I would say, and we'll have a bit of time in the morning and everything. Brisbane's absolutely beautiful in the winter, especially around that Newstead area on the river. Beautiful. All righty. Well, if there's no more questions, again, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to close down the call. Please reach out, via email or comments in school, and we'll chat to you soon. Hopefully see you then.